Now, while KwaZulu-Natal has borne the brunt of the recent flooding, other parts of the country haven't been spared. Scores of families have been displaced in the northwest community of Deeplan. While the rain has stopped now, the flat landscape is making it quite difficult for the flood waters to subside. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila joins us now from Maigeng. Aviwe, thank you for joining us. So, talk to me about the scale of the flooding in the northwest. How many people have actually been affected? How large an area was flooded?
More than 300 households have had to be displaced, Sally, because of the flooding in Deeplan. We are told that it's quite extensive. In fact, we saw for ourselves just visiting the village, Deeplan, where we are told it's not the only village that's been quite heavily flooded. It is in a low-lying area as it stands, which has raised a lot of concern. The only tar road there is completely swamped with water, and it's difficult to drive in and around there. You literally have to use a double cab bakkie or some sort of SUV if you are to drive in that only tar road, which is no longer a tar road because it's just swamped with water. The houses too haven't been spared. As we walked in some of those houses, gum boots on feet, and we saw the devastation on the ground. We're told that the families there, more importantly the females and the children, have had to be moved to local community halls where they're receiving aid, and the males, of course, remaining behind in that devastation, safeguarding their houses and their belongings. On the ground, there's a lot of humanitarian aid as well. The SANDF, South African National Defence Forces, are already crisscrossing the breadth and width of Deeplan in trying to assist those families that have people that are ill and can't be retrieved by ambulances. The only means that can actually reach them are those trucks from the South African National Defence Force. South African Police Service is also assisting, and humanitarian aid coming from the Gift of the Givers and the Red Cross as well. A lot of people pulling together, Sally, really. Even the Department of Agriculture in helping with the dead animals on the ground as they try to make plans, temporary measures in place at the moment, try to assist the people of Deeplan. In a conversation that I had with the district mayor there, Khumalo Molefe, let's take a listen to that.
We have managed to remove several families, especially the female. We've got about 2 centers. The center you saw, it's a feeding point because many people are assisting us with food. But as the municipality, we have brought TLBs here. Our yellow fleet is here. What we've been trying to divert the water. As you can see, it has subsided a bit. We have coordinated all government departments, from public works to health. A clinic used to come here once. It's now coming here more than three days. Public works is here with its machinery. Literally, the Department of Agriculture is also here to look at dead animals, because when we were here last week, you could not move dead animals away because, as you can see, you can't access this place by vehicle or any other form.
And officials are saying this is a recurring problem. So these types of floods have been a problem before, which suggests, I suppose, that they could be a problem in the future.
Especially with the advent of global warming, Sally, it is quite a headache for the government itself. One of the conversations I had once more with the mayor, who suggested that this is not the only village. He mentioned at least half a dozen more villages that are in low-lying areas in the district that need, in fact, the intervention that they're thinking of in long term, that those villages and the homes have to be relocated elsewhere, Sally, as if the global warming and, of course, the rain expected to come back, there is no other alternative. There's nothing that can protect them and safeguard them from the flooding. So the only alternative that the mayor suggested, and one that he says will be a headache, in fact, is to move them. In fact, it is quite a devastating situation, given that a lot of people have built their livelihoods and their lives there. A lot of people have spent in even their pensions in building those houses. We saw some some beautiful rural houses, and the mayor suggesting that now those people will have to be moved and government can only afford RDP houses for them. Something that, of course, would be unfair to that person that had built his life, given that he spent a lot of money in that previous house. But it's a conundrum that the mayor says they're faced with, and in fact doesn't even know where the budget will come from, in the conversation that I had once more with the district mayor there, Khumalo Molefe. Let's take a listen.
Reality is that with climate change upon us, this situation may improve slightly, but it may even get worse. So there's land identified by Khosi, and we have said, working with the Department of Coxstar, that we must do the environmental impact assessments there, look at whether we can house people there. So we already have a plan on providing housing already for them in case we've got a consensus, all of us, to move them. But there are worse households where we don't have an alternative but to move them, like the household where we are. There is no any other alternative, but we'll have to consider moving them. We may not move all of them.
Yeah, 300 homes affected. That is significant flooding in the area of Deeplan. Thank you so much for that update on the Northwest flood. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila.